Good morning, everybody, all of participants. Better Air Quality 2010. Good morning, Sophie, Corny, Robert, Bebet, Mr. John, and also Jitusa. Yes, first of all, I would like to thank to Kai Asia Center, where in this opportunity they give me award, Kongha Award, something that very prestigious for me. Actually, I do not suppose about it before because we just did the effort as what we have to do. I was surprised when I received the call from Babat Gozun last month to inform us a winner of Kongha Award. Sure, it is a godsend in my birthday, 5 October 2010. Which one we must be grateful for this. Again, thank you very much for Kai Asia Center. Hopefully, it could be inspire us in Indonesia, especially me, to make a better air quality. Probably you know that's in the year of 1990, air quality in the city of Indonesia is very, very bad. Poor air quality happen in Indonesia. PM10, for instance, that's 150 microgram per cubic meter. And the lead in the several cities, we can find out that's 1.7 until 3.5 microgram per cubic meter. So I think that's very, very high of the lead exposure in the air of several cities in Indonesia. And also, cause human health problem, like respiratory disease, for instance, was number 1 of 10 diseases, the most of diseases that affected people in the cities. And when we test the school children blood, for instance, blood lead level show us that school children in several cities in Indonesia was exceeded a threshold level, 10 microgram per deciliter. And like in Makassar, for instance, we can find out that almost 90% school children in there have BLL above the threshold level. So I think that's very, very dangerous for our generation. We understood that this is rather complicated to talk about the air pollution, especially how we can reform the policy, how we can change the program in the country, because this is not talk about the technical aspect, but also we have to talk about the social and economic and also with a political situation. On the other hand, we have still under the repressive regime, so it is very difficult from civil society to propose something, to initiate something that can reform the policy for the better air quality. On the other hand, our country still focus or make a priority for the poor people, for hungry people. On the other hand, we face many vested interests on this issue. But yes, in the 1996, finally, after we have serial discussion, we can formulate the air quality improvement strategy, where in this discussion, we formulated that 5 aspects if we would like to improve the air quality in Indonesia. The first aspect is how we can to improve the fuel quality. And secondly is how we can to promote the cleaner vehicle technology. And the third, how we can to improve the traffic and transport management. And the fourth is how we can to make a tighten of the emission standard. And lastly, how we can to enforce the policy. Yes, of course, from air quality improvement strategy, we have almost 104 agenda that must be done if we would like to improve the air quality in Indonesia. And the first of all is how we can to phase out the leaded gasoline from Indonesia. So why after we formulated the air quality improvement strategy, we formed the KPBB, Joint Committee for Leaded Gasoline Phase Out. We have 5 agenda in the KPBB. The first, we conducted the research, and secondly, policy draft, and the third, policy dialogue, and the fourth is public education, and lastly, also conducted the legal effort. Of course, we make a combination between soft approach and hard approach. If we stuck in the discussion, for instance, we mobilize public support to make a demonstration or another pressure, as we call as a hard approach. But on the other hand, as Babette mentioned in her speech, that we also sit together to solve the problem. So this makes sense for the Ministry of Finance. So we got new got new support from Ministry of Finance. Yes, we also understand that the situation, even we have a schedule that's 1st January 2003, Minister of Energy established that 1st January 2003, unleaded will be implemented in Indonesia. But, you know, this is rather difficult because look like there is invisible hand that's influence this policy. So finally, let phase out postpone from 1st January 2003, and we know finally we can phase out in 1st July 2006. Lesson learned. Yes, we understand that advocacy process is not just to be a watchdog. So me or us from NGO, that's we just not as watchdog, but we also make to encourage stakeholder to solve their problem and work together. And secondly, advocacy as an integrated and simultaneous approach to reach agreement among stakeholders, and how we can to make a binding commitment and share responsibility depend on their competency. On the other hand, advocacy process is also responsible to escort and monitor on policy implementation. And I think the new paradigm on the policy formulation refer to the leaded gasoline phase-out policy in Indonesia. If before, policy formulation were monopolized by the government actors, but after we have experience on the leaded gasoline phase-out, now we have a new paradigm that's policy formulation process involve all of related stakeholders like a government, private sector, and also civil society. And this is the next step for Indonesia. I think it is important to review air quality improvement strategy in Indonesia. That's the first. And secondly, how we can do binding commitment among stakeholders on air quality improvement strategy and share responsibility depend on their competency. And us from KBBB would like to focus on the cleaner fuel, especially for low sulfur fuel. Lastly, I think I would like to thank to all of our people, all of our experts that have support us, especially from Indonesian Forum for Environment, Indonesian Center for Environmental Law, Green Consumer Institution, Segar Jakarta, our colleagues from Ministry of Environment, auto industry, of course also from our partner in another countries, from USCPA, from USAID, CIDA, UNEP, PCFV, UNEP Regional Office Asia Pacific, Swiss Contact, KAI Asia, the Asia Foundation, and another part that have support us to make better air quality in Indonesia. Thank you.